Do you all remember when that crazy writer back in the 40s wrote a book about the world being under constant observation by Big Brother? His name was George Orwell, and the book was called 1984. Just the silliest little science fiction thing you could imagine, where everywhere you went, you were on camera and someone might or might not be assessing your every move to see what you were up to. And because you never knew for sure, you had pretty much better be towing the party line at all times. Now, it's a goofy image of the future, right? Except for the whole part where it's not at all. London. Coincidentally, the city in which that famous and prescient novel is set is already famous for being the most surveilled city in the world. And they're installing millions more cameras as we speak. That's millions with an M, folks. Now, ostensibly, this is to lower the crime rate. And hey, it probably will do that, but maybe not in the way that people living there are going to like long term. Now, on top of the fact that they'll pretty much be watching every square foot of London, they're also equipped with facial recognition software. Now, on the surface, that might not sound like too bad of a thing, but let's poke our stick a little further into this giant turd, shall we? These cameras and the technology driving them come from, wait for it, China, where they were developed to help the Chinese government sort out, can you guess, Uyghur Muslims. That's right, Uyghurs, that the commies have been committing human rights violations toward before and ever since. I hope I'm being clear enough for you right now. These things were designed from the very get-go to trample hard on people's freedoms. And now London is just eating them up like candy from the back of a stranger's van and placing them here, there, and everywhere all over the city. The facial recognition tech in these cameras is so good, it's been used for so much bad that they're actually banned in the United States, at least for now. Now, I want to go back to Orwell for a minute. If you've never read 1984, you need to. In fact, I just reread it a couple of weeks ago. And you need to probably read it as often as you're reading your Bible, quite honestly. Do it once or twice a year because we're living it, folks. And I don't just mean the cameras. That's incredibly dangerous, and it's a big part of the story in the book, but it's not the biggest or most important part. Just like these cameras going up all over London isn't the biggest or most important part either. Because you and millions like you might say, well, if I'm not doing anything wrong, I hear this all the damn time. If I'm not doing anything wrong, I'm not the one who has to be afraid of the cameras. Well, that'd be where you're wrong. What do I always say about the left in this country, which is driven by the same ideology as the left in all the other countries? They seek to subvert the dominant paradigm. You can say that with me at this point. Now, the concept behind progressivism is constant change towards a utopia that, despite their best efforts, is never any closer than just over the horizon. And if change is the one law in the physics of your universe, then what happens to the person who doesn't have to worry about the cameras because he never does anything wrong? So I want you to hear me when I say this, because this is the most important part. What happens is that the definition of doing things wrong, it changes. What wasn't an infraction or an all-out crime before will become these things just as a consequence of forced progress, which rolls over the people it touches like a tank. Now, the freedom of mankind is fragile, folks. It tears easily, and it can be washed away in an instant or eroded away like sand on a seashore over time. And it's our job as free men and women to do everything we can do to keep that from happening. Travis, I think we're living in scary times. Like, I'm 49 years old. I never would have thought this is where we'd be. Just even in the last 20, 25 years. I never thought this was where we would be.
Agreed, yeah.
I mean, what's your assessment of what's going on in terms of the politics, the culture? I mean, insanity is the rule of the day, in my opinion. It's just, the logic is crazy.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And I think to be as elementary as I can, so everybody can understand, is that the way that this country was founded by our forefathers is just being attacked, and I mean, I don't know how to say it more than that. Just progressives, like I said a second ago, are attacking the institution on which this country was founded on.
Yeah.